grandkids too. She was. So, well, once again, I love this. I love the stories. You all, this Thursday night is such a powerful event because you really get to be a collector of stories. As I heard Patricia tonight, and she talked about, and it's like Carol said, you smile, you wind up with tears because we all identify with the anxiety and the fear and the pain that goes along with either struggling with illness or losing someone or something of that nature. And even though Patricia had a wonderful story, about diabetes, and I know Dr. Carson will share this too, but the body just, with Juice Plus, it just seems to, do whatever it needs to do to heal itself because it's got the right foundation. And it's not that we're particularly, targeting any one thing. It's just it targets the body's basic good health and ability to heal itself. And then when I heard Chandrell, she said something that was dear to my heart as well, because what she really said was she wants to live at the highest edge of her existence in every aspect of life. And don't we all? And to hear her son's story and to know that that child is okay, and you hear how much he struggled with. And then what did she say? Is this been such a blessing that the person who introduced it to her was such a blessing to her and her family. So for each one of you, realize that you bring the blessing. You bring the blessing, and that's a very powerful thing. I asked Candace to co-host with me tonight. Candace and I have been running alongside each other. How long, Candace?
21 years today. This
21
month, right
years
now,
today.
my anniversary of signing my application, 21 years.
Oh, well, this is definitely a very special event then. And this is my month's anniversary for 34 years. So, we've logged in together about 55 years at this point.
I think so. It feels like it sometimes.
But, as Candace said, she's a mom, she's a grandmother, but she's also, and I'll say this about her, she's a brilliant physician. And she comes from a family of researchers. Her parents, I mean, she's very, very wise as far as the body and how it works and what it needs. And if I am capturing her story because I've heard it a number of times, it really wasn't the necessarily the realization at first of the product. It was what it did for her children. So again, our children are, big priority. But Candace, I don't remember you looking at this and thinking, "Oh, this is going to be the business of the world," right? You were
right.
Go ahead.
Well, because I didn't have anyone in my family of origin who was ever in business. They were all in education. They were all educators. And there just was no one in business. So I didn't know anything about business. And at one point, I think my sponsor and her sponsor both said to me one day on the phone, they worked really well together with me. They said, it's a great thing that you don't have any experience because you don't have anything to unlearn. And that's true. That's true.
And, I remember Candace saying too, that she felt like she could reach out, and because of the manner in which this develops, and you invite people to partner with you and share with everyone they know, she could reach so many more people in this manner than she could just by herself in the medical office when she was in her office. So, I'll say this about, it's so interesting how this comes about. And here she's built one of the most powerful businesses over the years in our company. Actually, Candace has one of the widest businesses. She has built a huge amount of width in her business as compared to everyone else. And I shouldn't say everyone, there are other people who build width, but she has exceptional width. And if you look at our business model, that width really equals, the potential for the not only, exponential growth that's happening going wide, but for that exponential growth that really happens as it begins to duplicate. And tonight we thought we'd hit on a couple of highlights that she and I were talking about earlier. She's very good as far as her verbiage in inviting people to events, and realize that our whole function is to create enough exposure through stories, okay, so that people will see what we have to offer and identify with something that they may want to need, whether it's good health our financial security. We are constantly looking at how we can create that exposure. And most of course, is done through either one-on-one in conversation, little groups. It all becomes events, whether it's a small group, a large group, a Monday night call. This Thursday night call is an event. So Candace, I'm going to let you give them a few tips on that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about width, and we're going to move through this so that you can make sure those kids go to sleep. Okay.
Yeah. So I think I have learned so much from everybody in the Juice Plus family. My team, all different levels. We're not a hierarchy. We're a family. Sideline buddies in other organizations. My support team is what you don't hear us use the word upline very much. It's not a bad word, but we're really a support team. And I think one of the most powerful things I've learned is from Susan Wittenbach. And I even heard another team member of mine say this recently, and it just really brought it back. So we're talking about inviting to this major event tomorrow night, which is Friday, the Las Vegas Level Up, which will have a medical panel, and then Stephen Ritz, and also, of course, our CEO globally, Stuart Kronagi, and we love her so much, and Simon Bowler from the United Kingdom. They're wonderful people, big vision, and it's for everybody, it's for guests. And so we were talking about this on our team, and one of my team said, Susan reminded me, she said, if you invite 40 people to any event, let's say, but something major like this, you may get about 4 or 10 that show up, and they will love it. They will be touched. But if you invite 40 people, that's the same number, 40 people will know you cared about them and you're up to some good. And that really meant a lot to me. And that's been my operating way, is I am not worried about if they can come or not. A lot of people will say, well, I don't know if she's off of work then, or if she has time, or if they're having dinner. Don't worry about it. Extend invitations is what I would invite you to do, and say, I thought of you. Are you open? Are you available? We have something wonderful going on, and I thought of you because you care about your children's health, you care about wellness, and just let them know what the event is and can they join you. And I have done that and found that a lot of times people will say, I can't that night, but is there a recording, or will you invite me next time? That's when you know who's interested in learning more. So it's a process, not a single time event. And I think a lot of times people allow themselves to be shut down. They're the ones shutting themselves down, no one else is. But this is human nature. We misinterpret, make it about us, and think, Mary doesn't want to find out anything more, or Jack doesn't want to hear anything more about this. But really, it's an opening to a conversation and finding out who's interested in what we're up to. So I love that. One, they know you thought of them, and 2, they know you're up to some good. That's my main thing.
And Candace, too, I think it's so important to underline that it's really that connection to people, staying connected, whether they can be there or not, knowing that they're cared about, knowing that you're thinking of them. And also, if they can't make the event, it's following up afterwards to say, let me just tell you what came from this. I know you couldn't be there, and I had so wished you would. So I want to just share this one thing with you because I thought of you. So it's really keeping that connection. Also, I think more than ever now today, and we've talked about this before on this call, is that people really want the connection. There's a great deal of isolation. People are lonely. And they might be really busy. You can be busy and lonely too. That's something that's been real interesting to me. Okay, is that if you're used to being around people and now you're not, that you can be busy, but you still want that connection. You want to hear people's voices. So, the reaching out, the inviting, and if you heard her verbiage, it was, I thought of you because, or I thought of you. This is something that you may be particularly interested in. Uh, if we look at the event that's coming up starting tomorrow and Saturday, that's a huge event. I mean, it's going to be major. It's the first time the Juice Plus community, and you heard Carol say when she started this call is brought to you by the Juice Plus community. That means team members are doing it. But if you look at this event. This is the biggest event where the Juice Plus community has created it. So there'll be a lot of things that you'll see and hear on that. You'll hear from people all over the world. So hopefully you're plugged in, you have your ticket, and you'll be there for that. But invite people, even if it's over to your house. At the last minute, there's a lot of excitement in last minute things. When you invite people right at the last minute, that can be really powerful. So you might invite them to your house to watch with you or to see the medical panel, things of that nature. But it's that reaching out to people, as Candace just said, that's so very important. And the other thing I wanted Candace to share, since I know she's on a limited time frame here, is that she built a tremendous amount of width. If you look at our marketing model, and you want to be paid at the highest level. I mean, I feel like I employ myself at a high level because I want to be paid at a high level. So what are those activities that bring you a large return? Well, definitely as many team members sponsored directly to you as possible, because we have the ability in our company, we have the privilege, you might say, to have as many frontline team members as possible. There are companies that limit you to that. If you go really wide and people see that, you become the model. And then they look at it and they duplicate it. So then that exponential growth becomes very large. And if you can do that and people see it, you teach it, they see it, you teach it, they see it, you teach it. Then as you get into those fourth and fifth generations, the numbers of people become astronomical, and you're really leveraging your ability to really take advantage of the financial plan that's here. So maybe a little tips on that, because Candace, that's one of your expertises as well. Okay.
Well, yes. So, Cheryl, I love what you said about the reason that we get paid is that people are getting healthier. And that's very profound to me. So, the reason that those fourth, and fifth generations can be so large is that so many people have gotten to hear about it from people they know, admire, care about, that they've transformed their lives by using this product, by being customers. And many of them have taken on that goal of sharing because they love people. And many of them in today's society, especially, truly need added income streams. And I know most people that I've ever met in my whole life, they want their income to equal meaning, purpose, integrity, and honor. They want to be doing something honorable that makes a difference. Well, there's no question that what we're doing fits that 100%. So my feeling is, again, I'll echo the words of Dr. Tamara Sachs. We learn from each other all the time, but I remember her saying, share the product and the business. Everyone deserves to know about both. And Chris Strobes has said that. They deserve to know about both. The choice is theirs. So I think it's important to let people know in the beginning that both things are there. Many people want to take advantage of our children's program. That's been my hot button. It always will be. And, they have the right to share it. And I love the verbiage that Susan Wittenbach shared with me the night that I finally decided to do something and get some Juice Plus. She said, is there anyone else you've thought of sharing this with? And I said, every other mom and dad I know who has kids, because I want them all to know about this program. We call it this Children's Health Study, CHS for short, but today's name is the Healthy Starts for Families. It's the same program. And she said, well, you may want to consider becoming a partner so that you have the right to share this whenever you feel generous. Well, I love that. And I teach that to my team. I mean, isn't that a beautiful thing? It's really the truth. You have the right to share it when you feel generous. So that's what I did. And with no business background, really was sharing the fact that people can take advantage of this program. They can help their whole family. And we're really an education mission as well. I love that part. So it becomes a way to change America's health. And we need, thousands and thousands of people on the ground, if not millions, doing this out of their heart, because it's going to take this kind of change to change our health. I don't know anything else that will change it as profoundly as what is going into our bodies. that's going to change it. It also changes awareness, and it even has environmental impact for those who see that picture, which I do. You know, we use only non-GMO. We are employing and honoring small farmers. It's just on every level, it's something I believe in. So I think everyone deserves to know about what we're up to so they can see what parts of it match their values. And many people are looking exactly for what we have, Cheryl. I think of it that way.
Well, and obviously you felt generous many, many times because you have shared this with so many people and you have a very large business because of it. And because you've really put that width together. And you know, you just have to listen to Candace and I watch her speakers when she introduced them and when each one of them finished. You could feel the heart that she felt and the excitement and energy I saw in her because she was so happy about their results. And I think that's part of your calling as well as so many other people is they like to see other people do well. They like to see them succeed. They like to see them
Mhm.
be more healthy. And that's something I felt as well with my own business over the years. It really, and like you said, Candace, there's so many people that are in financial need or they're looking for another way to express their lives. We hear about the great resignation. People looked around, you know, as this pandemic was going on and said, do I really want to work the way I've been working before? You know, or would there be something else where I would be able to have more time with my family or have more control over my life or have, you know, something that I can orchestrate or or develop. And so we're very, very relevant in so many ways. I know for me too, you know, my life was financially very desperate when I came across this. So I love it when I see somebody be able to, you know, kind of step out of financial fear because how many people wake up, you know, with that stress every morning, every day? I mean, and Candace, would you say, I mean, I heard you mention, and it's so true. I mean, we need that foundational health more than ever. We need for our environment to be protected as much as possible. But what about the stress level?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, stress is more of a killer than sometimes we realize. And most people know that that's the truth now. But every now and then we still get shocked and surprised when we see a real life example how severe the impact is. I mean, it changes people's chemistry instantly and for the worse. Diabetic can go out of control almost instantly from psychological stress, just for example. But then the chronic stress is just tears us down, and financial and uncertainty is very severe on people, and it's very hard on the children. There's evidence, lots of evidence that's already been documented that children's brains from infancy on, there can be permanent changes, and they call it epigenetic changes. So it's changes on top of the genes, gene switching. That's a permanent change in their potential because of the stress of being raised with economic stress between the parents and the family members. So we are helping families on such a profound level, and I think as long as you know you're sharing to help them, not to help you, it's that's kind of the equation. When you care more about a person's right to know choices in their life than what they might think of you, then you're going to be a success at this, because that's what it's about, I really feel.
Well, and that's certainly what you've demonstrated your entire career, that the 21 years that I've known you as of today, did you say 21 years now?
Yep.
Okay. But I think that is so true that, you know, everybody on this line, we all have the same power to make that difference. And there, you know, there is a real need. So, you know, I think for all of us, if you think about this particular event, this is virtually what we did for years live in small presentations or small meetings. Carol told you, you know, just the very basics of the product. She let you see them. Uh, then there's stories that validate that the product is what it says it is, and there's stories that validate that we've been here 51 years as a company. Juice Plus is almost 30 years old at this point. I think we're sneaking up on 29 years here in May.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so, if you think about the good that you can do in the world, but also the power, of what we have to offer, it becomes not just a mission, but a moral obligation to make that difference, because there's a lot of things that people don't even realize they need, I think sometimes, but it's just a
It's very true, Cheryl. And I think, just to have the options, looking at people in my age group, our age group, I mean, who doesn't want to spend time with their most loved people? That's what they want to do. They want to spend time either helping their elders at the end of life, or they want to spend time with their children of all ages, their grandchildren, and they don't want to be dictated to, no, you can't do that, and you've got to, not see your family at the most crucial times. And that is the great resignation. There, so many people are done with that. I have so much empathy with that because, Cheryl, I realized in my whole life I only have one allergy, and it is to having a boss.
yeah.
I've had that my entire life. And my husband looked at me one day years ago and he said, Candace, this work was made for you. And I said, you know what? It was. I don't have a boss other than my higher power. And who doesn't want the possibility of that kind of freedom? We moved down here to Indianapolis because that's where most of our grown children live and all of our grandchildren. And we just up and left. The house is still there. Someday we will deal with it. We've got things going on there, but we didn't have to make the kind of crunch kind of decisions that most people would have, because we have that freedom to go and to give our time.
And you
I
weren't
want everybody to have that.
right. You weren't on such a limited income that you were, forced to not be able to make that decision. In other words, you were able to make that decision.
Right. And without a boss, Cheryl, to tell us, no, you can't do that. You've got to be in the office at 8 a.m. or whatever.
And you have no idea how many times, I mean, we talk about stories over the 34 years I've been doing this. There've been a lot of stories, okay? And you don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, I got to be with my parent, and, or someone say, I didn't get to be with my parent when, they were passing, or I didn't get because I couldn't, my boss wouldn't let me leave my job. And then they would never be in that situation again. So this became very appealing. That should never have to be the case. It's heart-wrenching when you see and hear things like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
think for us, if we look at this call, this is the type call that you would want to bring any prospect to. You would want to invite people to come. And if nothing else, just hear the stories. And where the business is concerned, there's a lot of just foundational things to what we do that would fit into anybody's model as far as whatever they're pursuing in life, whether they work in an office, whether they work, for someone else. I mean, we all do like the freedom, but at the same thing, there's good foundational information too. So for anyone, the things that we do, the events that we bring to people, there's always a benefit of some sort. So I think for all of us, it's the courage to invite people to events like this, to really use something like this to build our teams, because we need to have the courage to stretch out and put our arms around people and invite them to partner with us, because Candace said it very well. What did you say, Candace? We need a lot of boots in the street. Was that what you said?
Yeah, a lot of feet on the ground,
Feet
a
on the
lot of boots on
ground.
the ground.
So kind of same, boots in the street, feet on the ground.
The
But
streets, that's good too.
but we really need people to tell the story, to the people they love and the people they know, to have those personal connections and communication. I see, you can go online and order most, I mean, there are things popping up constantly to where there's just an overload of information. But there's nothing online where a person reaches out and cares about how you feel about what you're looking at, how you feel if you buy the product and what it does for you. There's no one to really help nurture that decision. And there's some things you probably don't need that for. If I buy copy paper for my, printer. I probably don't need somebody following up on copy paper. But at the same time, it still feels good. You know, when I go into a store and they see me fairly frequently and they say, well, how are you? Or I saw your grandson in here with you the other day. How's he doing? How's school? Even if I'm buying copy paper, doesn't that feel good? And see, that's what we do for people is we do bring that kind of community that validates each other, that wants the best for each other. But we need armies of people to reach the people out there who need the support. So let's use this Thursday night to do just that, to invite people to our Thursday night to hear those stories. I'm wowed every week. You know, as we said, it brings you smile because you're happy to hear the good results, but it really tugs at your heart as well. When you hear and especially children, I mean, I don't want to see any human being having difficulty with their health or their life or their finances, but you know, where children are concerned, you know, I think about uh, Sandrell and her son. I mean, how wonderful does it feel that you're part of something, that child's life is better because of this? I mean, it just, it's really, it is something to be extremely proud of. So I know we're out of time and I don't want to hold Candace here any longer.
You know, my son's on his way home, so he's
We
been
don't want you to
texting.
be caught.
So
We don't want
I
you to
make
be
it
caught
sound so
while doing
funny,
his
but yeah,
job,
he
okay?
has instructions for me, and I do honor my son. So because these kids get grumpy in the morning, so they'll be able to tell if they went to bed or not.
Real good. Well, it's a pleasure to be here every Thursday night. And so, you know, over the next week or so, let's have more interactive conversation, see what you all would like, what kind of questions you might have, whether it's from a business standpoint, a product standpoint. Candace is on most of these calls with us, I know. And so, you know, if you have questions, maybe every now and then she can answer product questions if I can't. But let's also, you know, be interactive enough in the coming weeks so that we can help support whatever your need is for your business. Because I truly believe we're going to have the best years to come. We've seen our company have growing success as long as I've been here. I mean, it has just grown and grown and grown and grown. And I know that's not just because of me for sure. I know it's the whole family, the whole Juice Plus family, and our company president, Jay Martin, and his vision for the world. But you know, let's really get together on what you need, what you feel like is going to help you grow, because we're going to see massive growth. It'll happen so much faster because just the world is moving a lot more quickly. Technology certainly brings things to people very quickly. You can reach out, but we don't want to forget. We want to marry that ability to reach large numbers through technology with the human touch. My favorite thing that our company president ever said, I think, and I probably can't quote it just exactly right, but he got up on stage one day and he talked about all the amazing things technology could do. You know, you know, my phone now speak to me. I mean, things like that. You can ask Siri and anything you need to know. You know, you can go to your computer for so much. And he listed just amazing things that technology can do. But he said the one thing technology can't do, it can't reach out and hold the hand of a child. And so that's what we're here to do. Everybody that you reach out to, that personal, you know, that personal touch is going to make the difference in their lives. And we're the people that can do it. So Candace, thank you so much for being part of this evening. And
It's a pleasure. And I just want to say to my beautiful team members on here and everyone else, don't be afraid to invite to this call on Thursday nights, because a lot of times we'll say, well, they might be tired. They're, you know, of course, everyone's tired, especially if they're not on Juice Plus yet. And I'm not being facetious. If they're not on Juice Plus yet, most people are completely done in the evening. But I would just say, if you make a suggestion, sometimes this is what I'll say is, you know, you may be zoomed out, and I really honor that. But if there's any way you could put your feet up, turn your camera off so you don't have to look all sitting up or fancy or anything, and just see these people. They can't see you, but they don't mind. They're busy. You will love it. And so just give that invitation, because you never know. All it takes is one of these, and I think it will change people's lives. That's what I think. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all, and hopefully we'll see you on the Level Up event. I think I have a little part in that on the virtual on Saturday morning, but there are going to be some great speakers there from all over the world. As I said, the world got together as far as the Juice Plus community to bring this to everyone. So you'll hear it from everybody. So good night, folks. Thank you, Carol. We really
You're
want to
welcome.
appreciate Carol, and she is
Good night.
ability.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Night.